What is an MC011 restriction on eBay, how to prevent it from happening, and how to come back after your account has been restricted? That's what we're going to cover in this video. So an MC011 is when eBay sends you an email that says your account has been restricted. You're not allowed to sell any more items, list any items, and a lot of times your existing listings will be taken down as well. Now that term MC011, it's just an internal code used by eBay, but when you get the email, it will say that in the subject line. And a lot of times they won't tell you the reason your account was restricted, but generally they will give you some sort of guidelines on how to move forward. So in this video, I first want to cover how to prevent yourself from getting an MC011 restriction and how to get your account back if it does happen. Because it is possible to get your account back. This is only a restriction. It's only temporary. And guys, if you do want to follow along with me, I have a free guide that I'll link up down below, and you can click on that, download it for further in-depth about this subject. But first, let's talk about how to prevent this from happening so that it doesn't happen in the first place, because if you do get the restriction, it's kind of a pain and hard to get it removed, so you should just prevent it from happening altogether. Now, most of these are going to sound like pretty common sense if you're a member of eBay Dropshipping Titans. Inside my program, I talk about these a lot and how important they are. And this is the reason why you don't want this to happen to you. You don't want any sort of restriction or problem with eBay. So the first one, so easy to do. Make sure that you're uploading your tracking numbers for all of your orders. Every time an order ships out, get that tracking number and upload it to eBay as soon as you can. By the end of the day, once a day at the end of the day is fine. You don't have to do it like right away, but just make sure that you're doing it. Otherwise, you run into all sorts of problems, which I'll talk about in just a minute. So that's the number one thing you could do. The second thing that I recommend that you do is avoid listing VERO items. VERO stands for VERO is VERO. It stands for eBay's Verified Rights Owner Program. So what this is that eBay knows that there are some brands out there that are very protective of their brand. So generally, when we sell items on eBay, we are allowed to use the stock images and stock descriptions that were supplied to like Walmart by the company. So a company might make, like Apple for instance, they made this iPhone, right? And they took a bunch of photos of it, they wrote a really nice description of it, and they gave those photos and those descriptions to Amazon, they gave them to Best Buy. They allow them to use them with Apple's permission to help sell the product. And generally, most brands have no restriction on that. They let anyone use that. But technically, those photos and all that sales copy has been copyrighted by the original creator, in this case, Apple. So some brands don't want you to use their copyrighted images and descriptions, and that's basically all it means. So you don't want to list those brands up for sale, because if you do, you're going to be using the stock images and stock descriptions, and then those brands are going to ask for your listing to be taken down, and that's not good for an account when it's brand new. It's not good for an account in general, but specifically if you're brand new, you don't want that happening to your account. Now, how do you know what these brands are? The easiest way to do this is to use a decent or use a good listing software that helps you list items onto eBay, because they will actually alert you when you try to list one of these VERO items. It will tell you, hey, Apple doesn't like when you use their stock images and stock descriptions. It's VERO, you shouldn't list this item. And then my suggestion, especially if you're new, don't list that item, find another brand. So that's the second thing that you can do, avoid those VERO items. The third tip that I have for you is to pay very close attention to all the cases that are opened up and all the return cases that are opened up, and get them settled as quickly as possible. So sometimes buyers will open up cases saying their item didn't arrive. Other customers will open up return cases because they want the items returned. The last thing that you want is for those to be closed without seller resolution. that means the cases were open and you didn't take any action on them. And that's really, really bad. So with a case that's open where the customer claims they never received the item, just upload to the case the tracking number if it's available, and it shows it was delivered. If there's any sort of problem with that order or that delivery, contact the supplier, find out what happened. If necessary, you should get a refund, and then you should refund the customer as well. Close out that case as quickly as possible. Now for the returns, again, as soon as the return is opened, get a return label from your supplier, give it to the customer, have them ship it back, and as soon as they ship it back, as soon as it arrives and you get your refund, refund the customer right away. You don't want the customer calling eBay and saying, hey, I returned this item, it was delivered back, I never got my refund. Then eBay will close it in the buyer's favor, and it's not good for your account. So take care of all of those cases that come up. The fourth tip that I have for you is to avoid canceling so many orders, especially as a new seller. Sometimes orders will have to be canceled. That's part of the business. But there are ways around this. There are ways to mitigate this risk. So if you're using a good repricing software, and I'll link up down below the one that I use right now, if you use that one, it will greatly reduce the number of items or number of sales that you have to cancel. Because as dropshippers, as the price goes up and down on our supplier's website like Walmart, these repricers will make sure that the price goes up and down on eBay for us, so we never lose money. And if the item goes out of stock on our supplier's website like Walmart again, it will also go out of stock on eBay for us. So we don't have to worry too much about items being out of stock. And look, even if the items are out of stock, it doesn't mean the sale has to be canceled. You can contact the buyer and ask them if they want a similar item or not. And if they do, you can ship them that similar item, maybe give them a partial refund, save the sale, still make some profit, and it makes you happy, the buyer happy, and eBay happy as well. So as much as possible, avoid canceling so many orders. And now this brings me to number 5, which kind of encapsulates everything I just talked about. And my 5th tip is know your metrics inside and out. So if you go to eBay's website, hover over the top right where it says My eBay, click on Selling, and then hover over the tab that says Performance. It should be right in the middle of the page, right near the name of your store. Hover over Performance and click on Seller Level, and that will show you all your metrics. You should be looking at this on a weekly basis. It's going to cover everything that we just talked about. It's also going to cover cancellations, late shipments, cases closed without seller resolution, and tracking numbers as well. How many tracking numbers have been uploaded. So this will help keep you up to date with everything that's been going on, everything else that I talked about. You want to make sure that these levels are good, that they're not getting too high, so that eBay, you're not showing up on their radar and everything is looking good when anyone looks at your eBay account. So tip number 6 is make sure that you're trying to get positive feedback as much as possible and avoiding as much negative feedback as you can, because that in general is just going to help you. I don't think it directly correlates to MC011 restrictions, but it is a smart idea, because if you're getting positive feedback, it means you're providing good customer service. If you're not getting negative feedback, it means you're not providing bad customer service. And in general, that's what eBay wants to see from you. So provide good customer service, answer people's questions within 24 hours, respond to their needs, and don't be afraid to ask for feedback after the sale was successful. And then you should hopefully see some feedback come in, which is always a good thing for your account. Now, what do you do if you do get that dreaded MC011 email? Well, actually pretty much every time you get that email, they're going to give you some guidance as to what to do to get your account reinstated. And almost always, one of the things they're going to tell you to do is to make sure that any cases that you have open get resolved. So go into your cases and resolve them as quickly as possible. And this is why I put such an emphasis on it before when I was talking about how to prevent them. Now, usually what also happens is that they ask you to make sure that there are tracking numbers uploaded for all your orders. And if you've been doing that, those tracking numbers will already be there, so it won't be any extra work for you to get that step finished. Now, increasingly, what we're also seeing is that eBay is asking for invoices for items that you've sold. So you do want to make sure that you supply competent, real invoices for those items. And sometimes eBay also asks you for verification of your address. So they're going to want a utility bill or a driver's license. Most people can supply those as well. So I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you understand now how easy it is to avoid MC011 restrictions. Basically, you want to do a good job, keep eBay happy, and keep the customers happy as well, and it shouldn't happen to you. So if you guys got any value out of this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want more tips on selling on eBay or Amazon, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And thanks so much for watching. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you want me to cover in a future video. If you feel like I missed anything in this video, please let me know that. I'm always learning from you guys as well. So I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.